Welcome to day 100. Today, we're wrapping up with a really crucial topic for anyone building AI, governance. And no, this isn't about adding red tape. It's about making sure the things we build actually work well and safely out in the real world.
So, you've spent months building a model. You finally deploy it. And then there's that little voice in the back of your head, right? What if it starts doing things you never planned for? What if it has a negative impact on real people?
This isn't just a hypothetical fear. A major tech company built an AI to help with recruiting. It was trained on their past hiring data, which seemed logical. But the AI learned to penalize resumes that had the word women's in them, like captain of the women's chess club. It was systematically filtering out female candidates. They had to scrap the whole thing, and it served as a huge wake-up call for the industry.
So, how do we stop things like that from happening? Well, the answer lies in a discipline called AI governance. And by the end of our time here, you'll see it not as a bureaucratic hurdle, but as an essential part of engineering for building systems people can actually trust.
Okay, so what is AI governance? At its core, it's just a framework. Think of it as a set of principles and practices that guide us toward building AI that's reliable, trustworthy, and, responsible. It's the playbook for getting AI right. The real shift here is in our mindset. It's about moving from building clever prototypes to building trustworthy infrastructure. See, a prototype just needs to work once in the lab, but infrastructure, that has to work every single time out in the messy real world. The focus moves from pure performance to reliability and safety. Probably the best analogy comes from civil engineering. You'd never, ever build a bridge without a detailed blueprint, right? Well, AI governance is that blueprint. But instead of a bridge, we're building intelligent systems. And think about what's in that bridge blueprint. You've got the architectural plan, standards for the materials, a process for safety inspections, and clear lines of accountability if something goes wrong. Every single one of these has a direct parallel in AI. All right, let's get a bit more technical. Now we're going to see how we turn those high-level ideas into actual system requirements that you can build and test against. These are the core principles that make up our blueprint. There are really 4 pillars here. First is fairness and bias mitigation, making sure our systems don't discriminate. Second, transparency and explainability, so we can actually understand why a model made a certain decision. Third is accountability and oversight, which is about knowing who is responsible for what. And finally, safety and security, to protect these systems from being misused. And this is how we make those principles real. The principle of fairness becomes a system requirement. The system must not discriminate. In the engineering practice, that means running bias detection tools on your data and doing regular audits. The principle of transparency requires the decisions are understandable. So in practice, you design for explainability from the start and you keep traceable logs. And accountability means clear ownership for outcomes. So you define roles and document every key decision. Now, this is really important. This stuff isn't just a set of best practices anymore. This blueprint is actually becoming law. For anyone building AI systems professionally, this is now officially part of the job. The biggest example of this is the EU AI Act. It's the world's very first comprehensive legal framework for AI, and its ripple effects are being felt everywhere, even outside of Europe. The way the Act works is it uses a risk-based approach. Some AI uses are just outright banned, like social scoring systems. But then it puts really strict obligations on what it calls high-risk systems. Things in healthcare, employment, and law enforcement. If you're building in those areas, these rules are non-negotiable. And the stakes here are pretty high. If you don't comply, the fines can go up to 7% of your company's global annual turnover. That's a number that makes everyone sit up and pay very close attention. So let's bring it all home. AI governance isn't optional anymore. It's a core engineering discipline, right up there with software testing and security. It's what separates a hobby project from a professional, production-grade system. In the end, it really all boils down to one simple choice. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Are you building a black box, or are you building trust?